Gentlemen, there's a truth hiding in plain sight, and it's time to uncover it. If you've noticed something's been off with your wife, it could be a lot more serious than you think. Today, I'm revealing 5 warning signs that your wife may be cheating, using female psychology to understand the subtle shifts in her behavior. If you're ready to face the truth and spot the signs before it's too late, hit like, subscribe, and drop your city in the comments. I want to know where you're watching from. Let's dive into these red flags. Sign 1. Emotional disconnection. One of the earliest and most telling signs that your wife might be cheating is emotional disconnection. When a woman starts emotionally withdrawing from her partner, it's often a sign that she's investing her feelings elsewhere. Emotional disconnection isn't just about physical distance, it's about the subtle withdrawal of her emotional energy. In everyday life, this shows up when she becomes less interested in conversations or stops sharing details about her day. Conversations that used to be full of intimacy or shared stories might suddenly feel like you're talking to a stranger. When you ask her how she's feeling or what's on her mind, her answers become curt or vague. You used to connect on a deeper level, but now she's distant, preferring silence or shallow responses. Another key indicator is her loss of interest in your emotions. She might stop asking how you're feeling or what's going on in your life. If you try to share something personal, she might dismiss it or show no interest at all. Emotional disconnection is a sign that she's no longer emotionally invested in the relationship the way she once was. This shift can happen gradually, so it may be easy to overlook. But when you start feeling like a stranger in your own marriage, it's time to pay attention. What's more troubling is that this emotional distance often correlates with physical changes. The next sign reveals how her behavior towards intimacy can drastically shift, leaving you even more confused about what's going on. Once you see it, you'll understand the bigger picture. Sign 2. Sudden appearance changes. A sudden shift in her appearance can be one of the most obvious signs that something is wrong. Sudden appearance changes happens when your wife begins to make drastic changes in how she presents herself, often without any explanation or clear reason. When a woman starts to invest more time in her looks, especially without the usual context of a special event or occasion, it's often an attempt to impress someone else. You might notice her spending extra time on her appearance, getting new clothes, changing her hairstyle, or even dressing in a way she never has before. She might start wearing outfits that are more revealing, more fashionable, or more flirtatious than she typically would. This change in style could be a way of gaining confidence, but it can also signal that she's trying to turn someone else's head. It doesn't stop there. She might suddenly start using more makeup, wearing perfume more often, or spending more time on grooming than usual. It's as if she's preparing for something, or someone else. What makes this even more suspicious is when she doesn't explain these changes to you, or brushes them off with vague excuses like, "I just felt like changing things up," or "I wanted to treat myself." These physical changes aren't just superficial, they reflect an emotional shift too. If you start noticing this more often, ask yourself, is she doing this for herself, or is she doing it for someone else? And while her looks are changing, her actions are shifting as well. The next sign will reveal how she's altering her behavior, making these appearance changes even more concerning. Sign 3. Increased secrecy. If your wife has suddenly become more secretive, it's a red flag you shouldn't ignore. Increased secrecy is often one of the most telling signs that she may be hiding something, particularly if she has begun to guard her personal space and activities more than usual. A shift from openness to secrecy often indicates she's trying to cover something up. In everyday life, this shows up in subtle ways. She might start taking her phone with her everywhere, into the bathroom, into another room, or even when she goes to bed. The once casual glance at her messages now becomes a carefully hidden screen, and when you ask about her phone, she might snap back with a defensive response like, "It's just work," or "I don't want to talk about it." It's not just her phone. Her schedule might suddenly seem harder to pin down, with vague answers like, "I'll be out for a bit, but don't worry about it," or "I'm meeting a friend, but it's no big deal." When you try to get specifics, she becomes increasingly evasive, making it harder to track her movements or know who she's with. What's truly concerning is how the secrecy becomes a pattern. It's not just one offhand remark or a single instance of avoiding a question. It's a gradual change in how she interacts with you and how much information she's willing to share. The more she hides, the more her actions betray her. The next sign will show how these small secrets begin to unravel and affect your connection on a deeper level. Once you recognize it, you'll see the truth clearly. Sign 4. Less connection. One of the most painful signs of a deteriorating relationship is less connection. When your wife begins pulling away from physical and emotional closeness, it's a serious red flag. Connection, both emotional and physical, is what keeps a relationship strong. If she starts to show less interest in connecting with you in these ways, it's time to consider why. This could manifest in a few ways. First, she may stop initiating closeness altogether. Perhaps the playful touches, kisses, or even the simple acts of holding hands start to feel like a distant memory. When you try to be affectionate, she may pull away, offer excuses, or seem disinterested. Her responses can be brief and non-committal, or she may suddenly feel too tired or not in the mood. It's a sharp contrast to how she was when the connection between you was strong. Another aspect to pay attention to is the emotional withdrawal. If she's no longer as engaged in your conversations, or if she's distancing herself emotionally, the connection gap grows even wider. You may find yourself putting in more effort to create a meaningful conversation or a moment of closeness, only to face indifference or resistance from her. This growing gap in connection isn't just about physical touch. It's about how she's disengaging emotionally from the relationship. While you're still invested, she may have found someone else to fulfill those emotional and physical needs. And when connection fades, the next sign begins to surface: an increase in excuses and emotional distance. These shifts start to show how much she's really checked out and who she might be checking in with instead. Sign 5. Unexplained time gaps. One of the clearest signs that something is wrong in your relationship is unexplained time gaps. When your wife starts having large chunks of time that she can't account for, it's a major red flag. If she's becoming more elusive about where she's going, who she's with, and what she's doing during these mysterious time gaps, it's a sign that she's hiding something from you. In everyday situations, this shows up when she suddenly becomes unavailable for hours without a clear reason. She may say she's meeting a friend, working late, or running errands, but when you ask for specifics, she either gets defensive or provides inconsistent answers. The story doesn't line up with her usual routine, and the excuses begin to feel forced. Another key indicator is the sudden cancellation of plans with little explanation. If she's frequently postponing time with you or avoiding spending weekends or evenings together, it's a sign that she's filling that time with someone or something else. When she does manage to make time for you, she's distant, distracted, or impatient. These unexplained gaps in her schedule often come with an emotional shift as well. She may start becoming more defensive when you ask where she's been, or she might even make you feel guilty for questioning her. See you in the next video.